Hello, I'm Justin Beerley. This is Module 12, the Budget Debacle. First, summarize the case and establish the facts. Briardale School District has 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. Briardale Elementary is the focus of this case as a large community event center, little turnover in teachers, 600 students in the population at their school. Curriculum is focused on basic skills curriculum. Funds are provided by the superintendent. These funds must be used for basic skills curriculum, nothing else. Supplementary curriculum is not funded by the districts, such as arts, music, foreign languages. This creates a competition in between the district schools in who can raise the most money. Foundations were created to raise their own money for each school district. It is chaired by one person, in this case is Mr. Beerley. Funds raised to go to the principal, which is Mr. Santos, for supplementary curriculum that supports school improvement and student development. Foundation gives suggestions on the curriculum given to the school site curriculum committee. The committee evaluates the suggestions. Continue to summarize the case and establish the facts. Mr. Beerley, president of Briardale Foundation, new to the community. He's a Harvard grad. He is competitive in nature, motivated to raise the most money that he can. He wants to add innovative programs to existing curriculum. Extra motivation. His fraternity brother is the president of another elementary foundation inside the same district. This person beat out Mr. Beerley in a class president election at Harvard. The principal is Mr. Santos. Mr. Santos informed Mr. Beerley of his duties, such as his job as a fundraiser, his responsibility as a president, his responsibility to meet with the curriculum team, and his responsibility to advocate ideas that support school improvement and student development. Continue to summarize the case and establish the facts. Fundraiser. Mr. Beerley, his old fraternity at Stanford raised more than $100,000, selling tickets at a chance to win cash, in other words, the lottery. Went to the foundation with this proposal. The foundation supported the idea. The night of the fundraiser, all tickets had been sold. Raffle was at the Briardale Community Center. This has been the most successful fundraiser so far of the school. Surprise, the police were notified of the raffle for cash event. Sheriff arrived and took Mr. Beerley into the station. He was later released that same night. A few days later, he was convicted of a misdemeanor and placed on probation for his role. Principal Mr. Santos was embarrassed as it made the front page of the local paper. This left a permanent mark on Briardale Foundation. Legal issues. A raffle. A raffle is participants are given the opportunity to win a prize. Not all raffles are illegal. It's illegal when conducted by a state, a tribal government, or a qualified non-profit organization. The bottom line, licensed charitable raffles are legal. Public schools are considered are qualified as a non-profit organization. However, you must apply and be approved for a raffle license. If the gross receipts are going to be $25,000 or more. Ethical issues. Briardale School District. Why isn't funding available for supplemental curriculum? Superintendent has created a culture that does not support school improvement and student development, does not promote adult success and well-being. Mr. Santos, the principal, has allowed a new community member to be the president of the foundation. He should know the laws, policies, and procedures of fundraisers. Section 2. Thirdly, the people that have been harmed by this action. Mr. Santos, the principal, is embarrassed. His reputation has been harmed. Mr. Beerley was taken to jail, convicted of a misdemeanor. Briardale School District, bad publicity, damaged reputation. Trust is broken in between stakeholders and the district. Community members, stakeholders have lost trust. They could have possibly lost money. Questioning the district and their policies. Students are the real harmed here, the most harmed here, with their supplemental curriculum in jeopardy, as there may not be monies to fund that. Section 3, then synthesize exactly what happened in the single sentence. The Briardale Foundation has administered a fundraiser consisting of a lottery to raise money for their school to support school improvement and student development. But the president of the association was convicted of a misdemeanor and was placed on probation. Moving on to Section 4, above all, the known facts of the case and what facts are unknown. We know that Mr. Santos is the principal. Mr. Barely is a Harvard grad. He is the president of the Briardale Foundation. The superintendent, we do not know what his name is, but he has created a negative financial culture in the district. We do not know much about the community. Next, review and prioritize the information. Stakeholders and community. Damaging the relationship with district with the lack of trust now. Possibly loss of money with fundraisers. Students have lost the most important stake in the outcome. Supplementary curriculum that supports school improvement and student development. Learn more information. Why Mr. Barely received a misdemeanor? For what reason? Did he commit fraud? We don't know. Can we see a police report? What exactly did the foundation do wrong? What the policies, procedures of the district are when it comes to fundraising? Or maybe there are no policies. Why the superintendent has created a culture of competition in between schools and who can raise the most money? Why aren't supplementary curriculum being funded by the district? Do stakeholders know why Mr. Barely was accompanied to the sheriff's station? Why was he there? What happened? We don't know. What happens to the raised monies? What happens to the current extra classes? What procedures are in place to protect monies currently raised? The bottom line, I do not know enough about the community, stakeholders, the charged misdemeanor, policies, and procedures to make a decision on what Mr. Santos' next steps should be. At this time, I will identify my options and possible consequences. Investigate the laws that were broken, communicate the information to all stakeholders. Option number 2, fight the misdemeanor charge in the court system, interview with local paper about the court hearings. Take the blame as a principal, as it is my duty to monitor the fundraiser. Option 3, communicate with stakeholders on the laws that were broken, involve stakeholders in input on new guidelines and policies to protect assets, create new guidelines. Okay. Section 7, furthermore, it is time to evaluate the options. The pros and cons. First option, get to the issue, communicate the issue to stakeholders on what law was infringed upon. Pros and number 2, principal takes the blame because of no monitoring. Misdemeanor could be dropped. Sounds like it's probably not going to be dropped, so that would be a con. Communicate what laws are infringed on. Number 3, involve stakeholders in creating new policies. Section 8, above all, what is the best option? As the principal of Briardale Elementary School, it is essential to choose options that I evaluate and implement our data-informed and equitable plan that supports school improvement and student development. With the information and the circumstances known, I'm going to implement a combination from all 3 options that include: number 1, transparency. Communicate the known information and facts to all stakeholders. Number 2, take responsibility. Lack of monitoring of the foundation. I made a mistake. Number 3, gain stakeholder input moving forward. evaluate and develop procedures and policies that need to be in place to monitor the foundation for future fundraising events. Number 4, advocate and implement the new policy and procedures to protect stakeholders' assets. Each one of these options help gain the trust of stakeholders and community members, as well as develop and implement procedures that should have been in place to start with. Finally, imagining implementing your decision. Step 1 is transparency. Communicate the facts of the information. Some tools to communicate with are going to be town hall, Facebook, email, Twitter, and a power announcement. Step 2, take responsibility. Communicate to stakeholders that I have made a mistake in the monitoring of the foundation. Step 3, gain stakeholder input. Evaluate and develop the procedures and policies to monitor the foundation needed to be in place of your future events. Step 4, advocate. Share the new policies with stakeholders. Be visible in the community. Step 5, implement the new policy and procedures. The final step, evaluate and analyze the data to see if the policies are used to promote school improvement and student success. Plan B, continue to advocate and communicate policies to all stakeholders and evaluate policies and procedures consistently. I think the community is a community that really supports their schools, and I think the community will continue to support the school district with the new policies implemented. Okay,